some time now. I think it was around the COVID period. Now you're back with us on KMTV. I'd like to say welcome and thanks for the short promotion when you visited us the other day, telling the world or the business community what's new in the city.
Thank you.
So what's the status of the council? Let's pick up with that.
Well, I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here to talk about some issues in the community, especially as it relates to business. The Liberian Counsolate here, I'm the Honorary Consul here for the last 3 years. You know what it took? It took a community in the 90s. A lot of Liberians in Minnesota wanted a consulate. And so in the 90s, it didn't work out. And so a couple of years ago, the community rallied again, wrote a couple of letters to the foreign ministry asking that Minnesota, with the population in Minnesota, that it needed a consulate here. And so there was a need. And the question was, who will be the person to run or to be an honorary consul? And so there was so many names, but they were all white. And so the community, the question was, is there any Liberian within the state that could represent us in this light? And so it was a hard decision to make. I knew it was going to cost resources and time. Mm-hmm. But with over 40,000 Liberians in the state of Minnesota at the time, why would we have somebody else representing us? And so I made a conscious decision to take on that role, and I applied and went through the process and was successful in acquiring or becoming honorary consul. Since then, we function as I would say as a full consul. We're processing passports and we are also issuing visas, and so we are here. I know the question you guys want to ask is why I reduced the consulate from 3 days a week to 1 day a week. Mm-hmm. The truth is, for the sacrifice that I've made, and with the length of time I've served our community and our country, the support from the ministry has not been very well, and I thought it wise that I wouldn't be putting my resources and time when I'm getting little support. And so I thought reducing my time and to 1 day a week and put more time into my businesses, because you have to be a businessman to be honorary consul, And so I thought it was taking up most of my time. But I think the council is still there once a week. We're working is tough. A lot of Liberians are struggling with a once a week program. But we are again studying that process, and if the community demands more time, we will. But at this point,
when you talk about support from the Liberian government, you care to kind of.
I think I said the foreign ministry.
I mean the foreign ministry, correct. But the government is. I want to
limit it because the government has 3 branches. I want to limit it to the foreign ministry for now. I don't think I've had the kind of a support that I needed for the kind of a work that we're doing here. And so for me, it's just not the title. It's about being functional. And if I feel that I'm not that functional, then it's time for me to reduce my time and see what they want. And then they can figure out what the course of action is. But I wouldn't be putting in all of my time and not getting the kind of a response and support that I need as honorary consul. There are some benefits that you should have.
What are some of those?
Well, if you go into Liberia and you inform the ministry, you should get, when you get home, there should be some, like at least protocol to get you through the airport, at least bare minimum. And when I get to Liberia, I get nobody at the airport to pick me in. So that's a different story. But I think the main idea here is, as honorary consul, you need to be a businessman. And if I'm putting more time into my businesses, 3 days a week is not a bad thing. I have the staff to do it, but I just think reducing the time is effective. Just because, like I say, if I'm getting the support, I will. And because I'm not getting the support, so I think 1 day a week, I will let the community, decide if the community likes it and 1 day a week is working. I don't think it's working for them because on Wednesdays, it's like we're swamped. And so I'm making a decision, but I'm hoping to again, try to make communication with the foreign ministry and see what they come up with, and then we can go from there.
What's the relationship with you and the current foreign minister and that of the Liberian ambassador to the U.S.?
I got a good relationship with the ambassador. I haven't spoken to the foreign minister since he took office.
As an honorary consul?
I have not spoken to him, even though I've made a couple of strides. But again, it's an entire ministry. And so, but like you say, if you ask the question directly, I have not spoken to the foreign minister directly.
Wow. Nelly, you want to come in? I see you just shaking your head.
Yes, because this will blow your mind off, because running a consulate, you are generating revenue for the government. Reducing the time, that means that the revenue generated will be cut short. So how are you guys setting the balance between the amount of people wanting passport and visa? I remember when I wanted to renew my passport, I flew all the way to New York, spending over $1,500 just to get a passport renewed. So how are you guys looking at it? Are you guys looking at it as business, as politics, or what?
Well, I'm a businessman, so I'm not a politician. But you're right. My idea is, if we have a consulate here that we can process visas and passport, the money that Liberians were using to fly to DC or New York, that money could be going to Liberia directly to help with economic development. And so, yes, we are generating money for the government. Again, is the ministry's desire to say, yeah, I want to see more generation or not. But we've been effective in doing our work. I don't know if there are a lot of complaints. We've been very effective in terms of what we do. We are hoping that we'll build that kind of a relationship with the ministry so that we can communicate directly. We communicate with the embassies, so so I'm hoping that our relationship will improve, and so that we can do the work of the Liberian people.
What kind of feedback are you getting from the community as it relates to you winding down or scaling down your days? What feedback are you getting?
I think it's bad. The community needs more time in terms of people are working here, people got different schedules. 3 days a week, I thought was the best schedule to help our community. So it's kind of a bad. People are stressed out when they come. They want
to see.
They're saying a whole lot of things. But again, the office is mine. It's not paid for by the Liberian government. It's my office. I run the function of the government through my office. And so there's bad feelings. But again, I cover the costs. So I have to make conscious decision as to how much I want to put into what area I want to put my funding, my resources.
So the government is not putting a dime but for renting that office called the Counsolate office in Minnesota.
Apart from the passport section that I made a conscious decision that I was not going to cover the costs. So other than that, the visa section, everything, no, they're not paying a dime for that process. So I pay my own staff. I manage my staff time.
How many persons?
Well, I got 3 staff, and I manage my staff time. So I have to use my resources in ways that is effective and efficient. And so, if I'm not getting the support from a system that I'm working for, we are all on the same team, right? And we're all supposed to be headed in the same direction. And I think being a Liberian sometimes is painful. Because I think I'm the only honorary consul that is Liberian born in the States. So I don't know of other honorary consul, and maybe they are, maybe in Africa or somewhere else. But I'm the only Liberian honorary consul, and if I'm being treated as if I don't deserve being one, it's a sad feeling, and I think again is because I'm a Liberian, because other honorary consuls are not treated the way I'm treated, and I talk to them most of the time, and it's like, why? How can we function as a nation or as a people if we do not respect each other? And I think our problem is just basic respect for each other, basic understanding that government is a continuity, that only one person has ultimate power is the president. All of us are serving at the will and pleasure of the president. And so when you're in government, I think you should understand that if you look on the wall behind you, there were people before you, and there will be people after you. And so if we don't respect each other, and then when we are done, we tend to say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, forgive me. How many times government come and government leaves, and government official and other people will be telling their friends and relatives sorry for what I've done. I think if we respect each other, we'll be fine.
So he was appointed under which regime? George Weah or Ellen Johnson?
I think on the last day of the Salif government, that's when I received my appointment, and so I've been functioning under the president now. Yes.
So you think the silence, suppress?
I don't want to say so. I think it has to do with. Sometimes I hate to say it, but I think when it's, do I say personal? It's not. When you're doing a good job and you're functioning well and you're very effective, but I'm yet to find out where this is coming from. I yet to find out who's doing what, or why am I being sidelined, and I think I have more to offer than just being sidelined.
Have you exhausted all the diplomatic channel? Because as a diplomat, there are processes you have to go through.
Yes, I have, and I have written a couple of letters. I've spoken to a few people, and nothing has changed.
Have you been to Liberia?
I go to Liberia. I go to Liberia.
Shake some hands.
I go to Liberia very often.
So have you been shaking some hands?
Well,
or you've not been closing your hands?
No, but the point is, I'm already doing enough. I don't need to. When you say shaking hands, I don't understand what that means. But
the Liberian system, corruption.
No, I don't do that.
And so I heard you talk about you are at the point of making a decision. What would that decision be? You say that Jackson George is now thinking about walking out of the consulate?
No, I think my term is over next month. Next year. I'm not going to renew my term when it's over. I think the ministry and the embassy, we have to find a new honorary consul. I'm not going to resign. I'm not someone who resigns easily just because of individual pressure or something of that nature. I have someone who get into something and see it through. So yes, these things happen. There will be misunderstanding. I'm hoping that we will resolve our misunderstanding. I yet to know what is the problem, but again, I think the issue of us, all of us as Liberians, working together to ensure that our country is better off than what it is all of us. It's our responsibility. No one person should shoulder the responsibility of building Liberia. No one group of Liberians should do that. It is all of us' responsibility, either directly or indirectly. And so, I believe in Liberia. I believe Liberia is one of the best countries on earth, and I believe that the problem we have is basic respect for each other.
All right, Jackson George, people, he's the Honorary Consul General of the Liberian Consulate situated here in Minnesota, precisely in the Brooklyn Park area. And the consulate covers this region, Minnesota, Iowa, North and South Dakota, as far as Chicago, right? If I'm correct,
Yeah.
Wisconsin and all of that. Correct. So Liberians in those areas do business here with the consulate as it relates to visa processing for Liberia. No Liberians that is going to Liberia, or Liberians here trying to renew their passports. That's the channel instead of going to New York or Washington D.C. So he's responsible for that office. But on the flip side of that, Honorable Jackson George is also the head of the Liberian Business Association, LIBA USA. And how is LIBA doing so far?
Well, LIBA is doing great. As you all know, again, Liberians we have a lot of Liberians in the diaspora. And so a couple of years ago, we decided that how do we identify Liberian businesses in the diaspora? How do we, we're everywhere. And people did not know.
Like KMTV, we are everywhere. That's why you see us all over the place,
people
right?
Did not know where our businesses were. People always say Liberians are not supporting Liberian businesses. So the idea was for us to first identify Liberian businesses in the diaspora, which we have done well. And there's still room for improvement. The next thing was, how do we network among ourselves and trade among ourselves? And then how do we leverage our potential? And so the issue of us now coming together, identifying each other, trading among ourselves, and leveraging our potential is a great thing. LIBA has been very, very effective in terms of identifying Liberian businesses, making sure that we trade among each other. But another aspect of LIBA is how do we help with all of our resources and talents, how do we help our homeland? And so that is what we are gearing towards at this point. Now that we have identified our resources, now that we are looking at bigger things as compared to smaller businesses, not networking, not sharing best practices, not trust among us is difficult. And so LIBA has been able to help build trust. We want to be our better business bureau so that if you traded with somebody or you transacted business and there was a problem, who do you go to? Most of the time I say go to court. But if we can solve most of these problems ourselves, bring in trust, when people bring the information to you, confidentiality, how do we keep confidential information confidential in terms of business transaction? And these are some of the issues that we complain about, that, when you're in Liberia, we don't get the big contract, we don't get all of these things. It's because of confidentiality and all this stuff. So we are hoping that LIBA Diaspora would continue to build that trust among each other. We're continuing to build relationship and trade among ourselves so that we can keep some of the money in our community. A dollar stays in our community less than 10 minutes, because we don't own the big businesses, gas station, mortgage companies, car dealership. Now we own some big businesses. We got car dealership now, we got liquor store, we got buildings, commercial properties. So Liberians in the diaspora are making good. We've lived here long enough now to make good on some of the things that we need to do. And so our goal now is to transition. How do we use our resources to help build our homeland?
And when you talk about the structure of LIBA, how many businesses have you pulled together already?
Right now we have about 200 and plus businesses within our network, and we have more than that outside of our network.
And what are you
we are
open?
We are open to non-Liberian as well. So it's not just Liberian businesses now. When we started, LIBA was Liberian businesses. So as we grew and started to ask for federal funding or state funding or city funding, we had to open up to include other national. So we got Ghanaian doctors, Nigerian doctors, Nigerian businesses, Cameroonian businesses. We got all kinds of different African businesses that are part of LIBA at this point. And so we are growing. We want to extend into other areas. We have a national one nuclear body, unlike so many other Liberian organizations around the country that you see. We go into all of these political, chaotic stuff. We are business people. So we want to centralize our leadership, but make it more effective in other states. So coming next year, summer will be spreading out to other states. We just partner with the Liberian Chamber of Commerce, and those are things that we need to encourage partnership to be able to do some of the work that we need to do to touch more, to reach the more businesses out there, to join our network and do some work in our community.
So what's about fundings? Are you seeking fundings from the city council in Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park?
Well, we've been very fortunate to have gotten over, I would say, $200,000 from Brooklyn Park to carry on training for small and micro businesses. We've also gotten over $200,000 from Brooklyn Center. We have a microloan program as well. We've also gotten money from Hennepin County, the Blue Line, a lot in terms of over $100,000, I would say, to help bring awareness to the corridor and to small businesses. We have partnered with Chase Bank, JP Morgan Chase, and Chase is doing a lot of trainings for our businesses. So LIBA is doing well. We now have paid staff, and so we are hopeful that we will continue to expand. We want to be the training hub for small and micro businesses. As you know, we are having our annual gala on the 30th
We,
of this
we,
month.
we will be coming to that.
But that's some of the good things that we are doing as a business association. I think we are the only business association that caters to businesses, small and micro businesses. I'm really focusing on small and micro businesses because it is the engine. Small business is the engine. And so if we can hire more people, if we can work among ourselves and trade among ourselves and support each other, I can guarantee you that most of what we do will trickle to our homeland.
What's challenging in putting the strings of these businesses from all walks and then people into different things, bringing them together? How well do they see this vision and the picture to run with?
I think as Liberians, like I say, sometimes we Liberians create bottlenecks and create all kinds of things that stall the process. Oh, that's a Liberian thing. I always tell Liberians, look, get into an association and look for the good in it. We need strong institutions. The reason why we're failing is because we don't build strong institutions. We build our institution around individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to change. Jackson George is not LIBA. Jackson will leave and there will be another president. Now, when Jackson leaves, all the people who came because of Jackson will leave. That's the normal process of Liberian organization or Liberian society. So that's one of the difficult things. But when they come on board and begin to use our platform to trade, to do business, then they begin to realize that, oh, it's not just the Liberian community. We get information from all the state, the federal government, and we distribute that information to everyone. So now, LIBA is not here to make it happen for you. You take the information that we give you and you make it work. Now, if you want us to help, that's why we provide technical assistance to small and micro businesses. But again, some people are so proud, the ego, and so they don't want to do that. But those who are using the LIBA, they are very successful. They are getting contracts. They are doing the things they're supposed to do. And I'm a clear benefactor of LIBA. My partner and I own a liquor store. How do you think we got it? It's through networking. It's through building relationship. It's through LIBA. I would say it's through LIBA. Without LIBA, that would not have happened. And so we have construction companies. We have like KMTV. We have media institutions. I mean, we all need to build LIBA to ensure that our community is strong. We need to take care of ourselves here first and be strong before we can lend a helping hand in terms of building capacity in Liberia to ensure that Liberian businesses at home are also benefiting from some of what we envisage for our homeland.
All right, Jackson George, folks, he's the head of the Liberian Business Association, LIBA USA, and also the Honorary Consul General for the Liberian Counsolate here in Minnesota. We will take this very short break. When we come back, we will see what's up with LIBA, what's planned for the annual gala. He will be touching on that just before we wrap up this session with him. Let's take this very quick break and we will be right back.
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
the Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blend the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
And speak the truth on what is happening.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, don't miss out.
Well, welcome back right here on Diaspora Talk with me, Cyrus McGee, Nathan Charles,
And our guest today is Honorable Jackson George, the Honorary Consul General of the Liberian Consulate here in Minnesota, as well as the head of the Liberian Business Association. You heard him talk about the Business Association and the work they are doing with the business people in the state of Minnesota, other parts of the U.S. that are part of this. A huge following indeed from the business community. And very shortly, they will be coming up with a huge event. And Honorable George is going to be talking to us about this annual gala. As you can see, the flyer is displayed there on the screen. Honorable George, let's touch into this annual gala a little bit and tell us firstly the business plan for the organization, right?
All right.
Yes, you like to go on.
So every year prior to COVID, we had an annual gala, and this is where we appreciate small and micro businesses. We network, showcase our businesses. And so on September 30th, on Friday, September 30th, we are hosting our first annual gala after COVID in person. And so we are asking all businesses, small and micro businesses, to come in and support us. It will be held at the Coon Rapids Pepper Rose Hall in Coon Rapids. We have invited businesses from Liberia. We invited about 10 businesses from Liberia. We are hoping that they will come. As you know, the embassy in Liberia is not just issuing visa, although they scheduling a schedule for next year, but we are working with our council, our representatives and senators here, and the embassy in Monrovia. We met with them when I was in Liberia a few weeks ago. We met with the embassy and we put forth our request to issue those businesses visas to come to the States to join us in terms of this celebration. But the key thing after the celebration, we want to go back to our memorandum of understanding with LIBA Liberia. We want to strengthen that memorandum of understanding, and we want to be able to see how we can help LIBA Liberia build its capacity, how we can get LIBA Liberia to create the kind of a data that we need. We've made so many mistakes as Liberian business people. People will put things in container just to get a letter. No data, with no research. Now we want to be able to say, look, how many businesses are there in Painesville? How many businesses are there in Bannersville? How many are male? How many are female? What is the purchasing power? These are information we need to be effective in terms of how we do business. If we don't have those information, then people just put stuff in. Why if the people in Bannersville don't like red? And you have all red t-shirts and took it there? Why is this a taboo? And so these are some of the things that we're saying. How can we help LIBA build that capacity?
You got the strength to do that.
Well, I think we've grown now as LIBA Diaspora to be able to extend our hands in terms of building a computer lab where people can come in or get tablets and put people on the field where they can go in and put businesses name in and we can collect data. I think we need to know for sure the business, the terrain. What the people need, what the people don't need, what are some of the businesses that look. You can go to Liberia from the diaspora and open your shop. That time has passed. You open your shop by another shop, by a local shop. To me, it's a waste of time. You're taking away something from locals. What we need to do now as Liberian businesses is to pull together our resources and open cooperation. Look, when I created Strategy Africa, the idea was, what is the strategy? You understand? How is it that the West, or I hate to say the white, would come onto the continent, come with corporations, that's just not one person. They pull the resources together, they mine our gold, they mine our diamond, they take away our resources. Now that we've lived in the United States this long, we have the capacity and the resources. Why don't we create the same corporations and go and help develop our homeland?
And it's possible.
It is possible. And so instead of us doing these little things that have not helped us, we've done the same thing over and over for years that have not helped us. One person wants to own and be the CEO of his own company. I'm not saying close your company down now. What I'm saying is that keep your existing company, but let's get together as businessmen and women, open one corporation that can do the same thing that the white will come and do in our country. It's not impossible, but because we are so much individualistic It has hurt us as people, and it will continue to hurt us. As you know, if Jackson George put $1 million in their pocket right now and went to Liberia and went into one sector to create a factory, the mindset is that, oh, he wants to run for representative, he wants to be senator, he wants to be president. So what's going to happen? People are going to start storming you. But if 25 of us come together to create that one corporation, that's 25 people you got to deal with. We all know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, right? And not only the 25 people, multiply that by 5 times 5, because all of us got families in Liberia who benefit from that project. So the time of us having one person going home and think you can pull the deal, we should stop that. We should start coming together as Liberian business people, Liberian individual Liberian, to build. I've always said, government cannot solve all of our problems. And government should not solve all of our problems. Government should never be the largest employer. So it is possible that if we pull together our resources, I know what I'm saying because I run the Diaspora Business Association. I know we have the capability. I know we have the resources. The only thing that is lacking is for us to partner.
Now,
We do not have 5 to 10 Liberians with a major corporation in Liberia or outside of Liberia. And that's a major effect to how we function if we want to participate in our economic development in Liberia.
Now you're talking about 2023 with Strategic Africa Incorporated. People watching can see the flyer on the screen. You say you are inviting people to Liberia.
We'll be here in Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
Correct.
Okay, Diaspora, in the Diaspora National Conference, right? So with all of this, trying to sell this idea to, the people on what we can do as, diaspora Liberians in pulling the ties from, in Liberia.
If you look at Liberia, there's three sectors. Let's look at the nonprofit sector. There are people in Liberia with nonprofit organizations doing so many things, right? You got foreign NGOs in Liberia claiming that they're doing wonders. If you went to Liberia, it's hard to see some of the benefits that these nonprofits are doing. At that convention, we're going to say, what is the approach? What approach do we nationally want to take? That is, so just because of the Diaspora Conference, we will be inviting Liberians from Liberia to participate into this conference. The first part of this conference will be, you tell us what's happening in Liberia, because we need information to make informed decisions. So we strategically invite people who are doing things in Liberia to come and join us here at this conference to tell us exactly what's happening in the nonprofit world. After that, we all sit and craft a national economic plan for nonprofit development in Liberia. It's not just forming your nonprofit and collecting money, and 95% of the nonprofit go to overhead and 5 or 10% go into programs. That doesn't work. Even in the United States, it's 95% go into program and 5% go into overhead. So we have to change our approach. The second aspect of that is the businesses. How do we do business in Liberia from the diaspora? What is our diaspora plan for Liberia? We can't just, as a people, everybody just going in, you build your little house, you build this business. Everybody is doing basically the same thing with no major economic impact in Liberia. Why don't we just, people have done this before. Why do we need to reinvent the wheel? Let's look at Rwanda. Let's look at Kenya. Let's look at Ethiopia. Let's look at other diaspora countries that can have impact. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but no country has developed with all its diaspora community having major impact in that. We don't need investors. If we can invest into our own country, why should the Chinese or why should other people invest into our country? And we have the resources to make major investment in our country. Wow. Some people will say, well, the government is not providing the enabling environment to make it work. But then the question is, how are the Lebanese making it? How are the Chinese making it? How are other people making it? Again, it comes back to me and say, maybe being Liberians is the problem. But we have to change our mindset, all of us, at home and abroad. But we can't stop fighting. We can't stop because we feel the system is preventing us from doing it. We are business people. We need to figure it. Then the third aspect of this convention will be the stakeholders. There are Liberians who are stakeholders. The issue here is, how can we change our remittances into economic development? We've helped our families I'm not saying the system we've created. I always say the welfare system we've created. How do we transform that into economic development?
Okay.
I'm not saying stop helping your mom if your mom is sick or father is sick, but we need to be honest with ourselves in the diaspora. We have created a system in Liberia that is affecting economic growth as well.
Mhm.
If people do not depend on the system, then they don't care. If you don't depend on the system, let's take for instance, if you were to go to, let's take JFK for instance, if most of the Liberian people or pharmaceutical companies,
Mhm.
if you don't believe that I can go to JFK and buy my medication, but if my family was sending money, I will go to either pharmacy or go to the other one. Do you think JFK is important to you? No. So we must allow people to feel the system like we do here. The system has to work. And we are also preventing the system from working because of the way we do business. We need to be honest with our family members and say, look, we have to transform these givings into economic development.
Okay.
You work for this. People don't even want to work anymore because we've done so much in terms of giving. But it's not a bad thing to give. I'm just saying our mindset, we have to change our mindset in terms of giving. If you have a family member who's staying at your place, we're paying our family member to stay in our locations.
Mhm.
We're paying our family member to do, we can do these things, but we got to structure it in ways that brings benefit to our homeland. And that's why I'm thinking that this convention will begin the process to change our mindset about our country. And many times we say, when you talk to Liberians, they say, oh, Liberia, nothing good will happen to Liberia. I mean, it's our homeland.
And we have to treat it.
We have to treat it as our homeland. If we denigrate our homeland, how do we expect it to improve? But guess what, though?
Mhm.
The very people who are saying that country is nothing wrong with it, I mean, nothing going to happen. If the family member dies, they're going home.
They're going home.
And if they had an auto accident, where are they going to take them? To JFK.
Yeah.
You can have your U.S. passport. They still got to stabilize you before they bring you to the States.
Exactly.
So you will be laying in JFK, the place where you didn't want to be, the place you didn't care about. You'll be laying there.
Mm.
And so I tell my friends, instead of us bad-mouthing the system, let's try to help fix the system, because no one person is responsible for the development of Liberia.
All right, Jackson George, and I know we're already out of time. Just as we wrap it up, what could be your call out to your business community, the people on your annual of Gala and Ball, September 30? If you're there watching the flyers,
I think it would be a great
September 30.
a great gathering of small and micro businesses. I think Liberians in the diaspora who are business owners should come to this event. We will be networking. We'll be talking about bring your business cards, bring your flyers. We'll be networking. This is a fun event. We will have a guest speaker who will be so powerful. I'm not going to call names right now. We got 3 people that we're hoping
Still talking between,
and it's going to be an impactful event. But at the end of the day, the issue here is, for me, how can we build an institution that is strong, that is viable, and that benefits the majority of our people?
All right.
How can LIBA, with its resources, help build capacity, LIBA's capacity in Liberia, and work with LIBA Liberia to ensure that businesses are supported and businesses are doing well. When you go to Liberia, sorry, I know you're running out of time. When you go to Liberia, always the Lebanese, the Fulas, the Nigerians are doing well. We can do well too. We have to change our mindset about doing business in Liberia. We have to change the way we do business. There will be blocks, there will be huddles, but there are ways around it.
Handshaking,
I'm not saying that we are business people, I think understanding the terrain you're doing business in is one of the best way to begin. Understanding the players is one way to look at it, and understanding how you navigate the system is also important in business. So if I was in China, I will navigate the Chinese system. And so if I were in France, like we do here, business is not easy in the United States. I mean, we go through a lot of difficult times in the United States. It's not handshaking, but the process is tedious. It's a lot of bureaucracy at times. I have a healthcare business, and I know what I go through running a healthcare business with regulations and all of these things. So it's not that easy. But again, I know you're running out of time, but we need to focus on how we as a people can help develop our homeland. Again, no one person, no group is responsible for the development of Liberia. It's all of our responsibility. Whether you are a child, you have to understand your civic engagement. You have to understand what the role of the president, the vice president, the ministers, you have to understand all of these things if you have to have an impact. You can't drink water from the plastic bag and throw it on the ground and say, government will come and clean it. It's our responsibility as well to clean our country. So these are things that we need to change our mindset and understand that no one person can develop Liberia. We should not put this on one person's shoulder or one group of people's shoulder. We need to hold each other responsible and accountable because of some of the things that we do.
Yeah, Jackson George, he's the Honorary Consul General of the Liberian Consulate, also the head of the Business Association, LIBA USA, Lytton. As we wrap it up with Honorable George, we're coming back to do a chit-chat on pressing national issues, the unfoldings in Liberia, to wrap up the show. But Honorable George, it was wonderful having you with us as our first guest as we return to Diaspora Talk. And we know that you bring in the businesses already. And I was there yesterday shooting some videos for the liquor store. Very soon, the Brooklyn, the Park liquor store.
I mean, it's amazing to
with
own a liquor store in the United States. You know, we have parties, we have a lot of programs in our community. And so that's part of our money was leaving the community, because all these programs we're having, all these parties we're having, we're going to the liquor store and buying. Now we own a liquor store. We are asking the Liberian community to support our liquor store. When you're having programs come, let's talk about how much alcohol you need or how much drinks you need. We'll provide it for you. So that's one of the benefits of owning a liquor store, and I can guarantee you some of that money will trickle into Liberia.
Are you going to be exporting some cane juice?
Well, now that we have a liquor store and have import and export license, yes, we are open. Club beer. We want to bring club beer to the United States. So, I mean, there's so many other things.
Those are other things we'll talk about. So, folks
Yeah.
out there, Jackson George, we want to be taking this very short break. When we come back,